I was 18 and I just started working at my favorite guitar store in the country. It was called the Guitar and Amp Center. And this was a small shop in Harrisonburg, Virginia, but this is the place where I first got to play amazing vintage guitars. I quickly became friends with one of our main customers, or one of our patrons was this guy named Sam. So Sam became a really dear friend to me, and a friend is what I needed, because I was young, and I really only knew about punk rock and metal guitars. Like, I knew a lot about Les Pauls, I knew a lot about locking trims, but I didn't know much about old Martins. Even though I loved old Martins from a distance, I just didn't know enough about them. Sam had an amazing collection, better than pretty much anyone I still know to this day. I bet Sam was in his late 70s when we were friends, so that's 15 years ago. Amongst all of these amazing guitars that Sam owned, amazing pre-war Martins from the 30s and 40s, all the way through into the 1960s and 1970s, there was one guitar that I always loved a lot. And Sam would come in and he would, if he was running errands in town, he would bring the guitar by. He'd drop it off under the guise of like, oh, it needs new strings or something, when he really knew that it would just be there for me to hang out and play that guitar for a couple hours. And one day, Sam told me that he was starting to do some estate planning, and he was getting older. And like I said, I mean, he's probably late 70s by the time that he and I became friends. And so Sam told me that he wanted me to have this particular D-41. And he said that he'd come by in a couple weeks with some paperwork for me to sign, and that way I would make sure that I had it and blah, blah, blah. That was right around the time that I was getting married, going on my honeymoon, and when I came back, I wasn't actually going to be working at the guitar shop for a while because I was going on my honeymoon. So I never signed the paperwork. And then shortly after that, I started looking for jobs. I left the guitar shop and we moved to New Orleans. And I never signed the paperwork. But I didn't think too much about it, and I just left it to wonder. Like, I wondered where he was, if he was okay, if he'd passed away, and what happened with his guitars, and, you know, but that's about as far as it ever went. I assumed that guitar was long gone. And then on Sunday, in the kind of a lazy, wonderful afternoon right after Christmas, I got a message through Facebook from someone that watches my YouTube videos. And they said, I have an old D-41 that I think you'd like. And they didn't know any of the background or the story. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Where are you? Because I just assume that everyone is pretty far. I mean, by and large, most of my followers are all around the world. And so very few are particularly local. It's very rare that anyone kind of knows that I make videos and talk to a camera like it's a person, because that's a weird skill to have. But this message came in, and I have a D-41. I think you'd like to own it. Are you interested? I messaged back and I said, hey, where are you? And I looked at the guy's profile and I was like, holy cow, he's 10 minutes from here. He's in the next town over. And so I immediately said, I would love to see this guitar. I've wanted one of these forever. And I didn't even bring my camera. It was just such a quick pace of like, I can meet now. Can you meet? Yes, I'll jump in the car. I'll run down there and I'll meet you. And so I went down there and he showed up with the blue case. And one of the ways in which I can all but guarantee that this is Sam's guitar and the guitar that I've played in years past. So Sam named his property Shady Grove. I never went there, but he told me about it. And it's just a small detail that I remember. And I remember that the case had these mailbox letters that said Shady Grove on it. And so the guy walks through the door and he puts the D-41 on the table and I see Shady Grove. Now it's missing a couple letters, but it's very clear that that's what it says. And he opened the guitar case, and I saw that iridescent abalone. I saw that beautiful golden top. I saw that dark ebony fingerboard with the bright abalone hexagons. My heart was filled. This is the dream guitar for me, and I never thought that I would be reunited with this guitar. So I looked up from the guitar case, and I looked at him, and I just asked, where do you want to be on this? And he says, I'd like to be around $2,700. And with that said, I know that this guitar does need a neck reset, so there's kind of $300 to $500 that I have to build into this. But I'm also, and this is very different for me, I'm not really buying this to sell again. Like, this is a guitar that has such deep personal history to me that I just want to own it. But I also want to get it to where I can get it sorted and not ask my family to sacrifice too much. So he said, I'd like to start around 2,700. My number in my head was, I'll offer him 2,000, but I even stepped up from that. So I said, well, my first number is 2,200. And he looked at me, he's like, And I said, and I could have left him there, and we probably could have come closer to that 2,200, but I said, how about 2,500? And he said, that's great. And then I said, there's a problem. It's Sunday, and the bank is closed, and I don't have cash. And he's like, well, what do you want to do? And I asked him, I was like, do you do PayPal? Or I could write a check, which this is kind of a cardinal sin of guitar buying and selling, offering a check. But it's such extenuating circumstances. At that point, I did not want this guitar to leave from my hands. So I didn't want the guitar to leave my hands. I didn't want him to go and sell it to anyone else. I wanted this guitar right away. And I think he could see the excitement in me and the urgency to get this deal done. And so I said, how about this? Let's go to my house. I'll give you a personal check. It's at a bank right down the road. If you have any issues, you can let me know. Here's my number. Here's my info. If anything goes wrong, let me know. And he said, oh, that's fine. And so we went to my house. I wrote a check, and we just talked about music and guitars for a while. And the whole time I'm just thinking, I freaking got it. I got Sam's D-41. So I was incredibly thankful, grateful, humbled, amazed. I'm so excited for this. And I've waited. So this is right at the end of the year, so there's a bunch of stuff going on. But I want to make sure to bring you guys along, and I want to film this whole process. So I've played the guitar a couple days, but it has super dead strings, and it's just a little sore. Let's restring it real quick, and I want you to hear it. There will be more videos about this because there are some more repairs that need to happen to get this guitar totally sorted, but it is here. This is a great Christmas gift. This is, for me, one of the most important and significant guitars that I've owned. Still have to figure out how to pay for it, because this was paid for out of my flipping money, not my keeping money. So, if you want to support the channel, if you want to help me keep guitars like this, go to jeremytheguitarhunter.com and buy the buyer's guide. That's the most helpful thing. Most of the tricks I used to get this guitar purchased came from that buyer's guide. Also in the store, you'll find shirts, coffee, all kinds of cool stuff. So let's restring this guitar, and let's hear how wonderful a second year of production Martin D-41 can sound.
Well, it don't come with a master plan, a grand design for how to make it pan out the way you want it to. Well, son, that's left up to you. It's a race of undetermined length that'll test your mind and test your strength, leave you feeling all alone, but always find a way to bring you home. Well, be careful not to waste it while planning how to make it, 'cause it only comes once and it don't last long. Always remember, it ain't something you can hold on hold. Don't let it pass you by.
This is an amazing guitar and it needs a couple things done. So check out the next video. It will be all about everything that's wrong with this and what needs to be done on this guitar in order to get it sorted, playing 100%. Because right now, it plays a little hard and it's a little out of tune up high. In the shop, you will find t-shirts, you'll find coffee, and most importantly, you will find the buyer's guide. So many tips and tricks packed into one resource that will help you be a guitar hunter who finds the right guitar for you. The guitar that when it sits in your lap, you cannot help but learn new things about yourself. It's the best tool I have to offer, and it's the best way to support the channel. So, thanks so much. Happy New Year. I'm glad we're in it together. I'll see you soon. These videos really only get to happen with the support of my patrons, and I am so thankful for Adam. Adam, you are the man. Adam is my ride or die, and so if you want to become a ride or die patron, go to patreon.com/guitarhunter, and you can join in. With that, you get all kinds of cool stuff. You get swag, you get to hang out with me, and you get to live knowing that the world is being filled with guitar hunters because of your work and your support. Thanks again, Adam. I appreciate it, man.